Okay, today I'm going to be starting part 4 of the brown trout series. I apologize for it being so long between part 3 and part 4. It's been a couple months, I think. I was finishing up part 3 just before deer season, so I was gone to deer camp for a couple weeks. And then for me, work gets kind of hectic around the holidays, and then the weather kept me inside. I didn't get as much chance to work on it outside as I want. I don't have a shop, so or a heated shop, I should say. So I didn't get to work on it that much. To top it off, I got sick last week. My wife and I both got sick and tested positive for COVID. So for about 3 days there, we were pretty down and out, but we're pretty much over the hump of that and on the mend. You may hear some gunshots in the background. Sound like somebody's doing some target practice down here, so I apologize for that. But anyway, today what I'm going to be doing is mounting the eyes into the trout. I've got the eyes here that will be, I'll have to drill the holes and mount those in there, and then we'll be gessoing it and getting it ready for painting in probably part 5. But anyway, I'm going to get set up and show you how to do that. I apologize. I accidentally deleted the clip of setting the eyes and burning the scales. Um, but if you'll go back to part 4 of the Rainbow Trout series, you can see I use the exact same process, and it's in that video series. So if you're interested in seeing that, you can go back and watch it there. But again, I apologize for that. But I'm going to pick up here. We're using gesso to seal it and for base coat for painting. So I'm going to start here. Normally on the eyes, I would put a liquid latex masking or just Vaseline, but I didn't have either this time, so I just painted around them. They're glass, so it scrapes off pretty easy anyway, so it's not that big a deal. For me, but like I say, I just use this deco art, and the one I'm going to start off with is a white, but it has a little bit of an iridescence in it, um, which will help kind of shine through when I get ready to start layering colors on. You won't be able to see the iridescence on camera, I don't think, but it's where it'll show up is in the final paint. And later on, I'll drill a hole through this between the pelvic fins here and mount it on a pole, to do some final painting on. But right now, I'm just going to hand hold it and get this layer of iridescent white on here. And I'm not going to go all the way to the top because the iridescence won't show in that up there. So I'm not going to worry about going to the top. I'm just going to get this bottom done. in places where the thin color washes will show. A little bit of that iridescence will shine through, giving it that nice iridescent sheen that they have. I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but I apologize for it being so long from part 3. When I finished part 3, it was right at the beginning of deer season, and so I was involved with that for a couple weeks, and then the holidays hit, and work gets kind of crazy for me around the holidays, so I didn't have much time to work on it as I would have liked, and I'll let this dry and then come back and start adding the base color of a yellow ochre onto it. And I probably will come back at some point and touch up this bottom white on the belly. I'll just have to see how it goes. And this is kind of also the part where I start seeing mistakes. Alright, I think that's about got it. Like I say, I don't think you'll be able to see, I don't think you'll be able to tell with the on camera the iridescence this white has. It's a pearlescent, and it'll kind of show up under the thin layers of paint once I get started on that. Put this right here, let it dry. And I do have some photos here that I'm going to use, that I'm using for color reference and pattern. And the brown trout there's such a wide range from region to region on their color. But I picked these, and I kind of like the way these look. I think it's pretty much a general overall of what they look like. Like I say, you can find some that are where they range widely. There's some that's more yellow versus this orange. There's some with fins that kind of fade more out to a greenish hue. The spot patterns change on them. The little red spots in them. Some of them are, like on this one up here, the red, you can see very few reds, and this is a painting that someone done, but I still like the color scheme of it. But some of them have more and less red. I've seen some where there's just a ton of red spots in them, and others there's just maybe a scattering of the red spots. The distance between the spots are different on different fish, different regions. So it's just a matter of getting in and getting plenty of reference photos to what you want it to look like. So this is what I'm doing. I know most of the brown trout in our area here have this little bit of a blue tint on the cheek that kind of filters back through the body. So I'm going to try to put that in. I like the way the fins turn yellow on this one. And they have, I don't know if you can see it on this one, but they do have this white and black forward edge on the fins that I'm going to add on to this one. There's some trout, some browns, you don't see that on there. So it's just, like I say, again, it's just depends on the region you're in, the water, or the stream. So you just have to make up your mind what you want to do and how you want it to look. So it always pays to have plenty of good reference photos. And plus I've got a ton on my phone that I look up, and it'll that I'll get reference to later. You may see me looking on my phone for that also. But anyway, that's where I'm going to stop until this dries, and then okay, I've got the trout gessoed now, and I'm going to I was going to do this inside because it was so cold out. I don't have the luxury of a heated shop, so I wasn't going to airbrush. I was going to do it all by hand, but it's a pretty nice day today, and I think it'll be fine. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to airbrush the base colors on it, and I will finish up the details by hand. So I'm going to get started here. Lost my palette. By mixing up some paint for the airbrush to do the base colors on here. And that's going to be kind of a yellow ochre type color, and I'll use a couple different colors here to get that. It's going to be mostly an orange, and then I'm going to tone it down with some burnt sienna and raw umber and maybe a touch of red. And then I'll do the base coat. The top coat will be an olive green, and like I say, I'll get that done, then I'll go back in and hand finish the details. So, but I do have my reference here that I'm going to go by the colors on. So I'm going to get started on that. Let me get the paints mixed up and the hairbrush hooked up, and then I'll be right back. Okay, I've got the color mixed up. It's a little darker of a yellow ochre than I think I need, because I will be doing some dry brushing for scale highlights later on, and that'll lighten up the color. So I'm going to start off with a darker color. So I hope this works. It's about 34 degrees out here. I don't think it'll freeze, so we'll try it here and see. Oh yeah, it's gonna work, I think. All right, now I've got an olive green color mixed up here, and I'm going to start on the top. May not be dark enough, but again, it doesn't matter that much because I will be hand brushing, dry brushing colors on here also. One of these days, I'll gonna build me a shop to not have to worry about the weather. Right now, I'm too hot in the summer and too cold in the winter. All right. See if I got everything covered that I want, and I think I do. Now I'm going to start. Actually, I think think I want that just a little darker on that top. Alright, let's try this. There we go. Normally, I put a little Vaseline on the eyes to keep the paint from sticking to it, but I forgot to get the Vaseline out, so I'm gonna have to do a little bit of scraping on the eyes to get them the paint off of them now. All right. Now I need to mix up a little blue, because on my reference photos and then some of the browns that I've caught, they have a little bit of a blue sheen down the side, especially on the cheeks. So I'm going to get a blue mixed up for that. I don't know how much you can tell on that with it much sun on there, but I've got the base color in that I want, and so the rest of it I'm going to do by hand, dry brushing inside in the comfort of the warm kitchen.